ArcGIS helps enable a smarter field workforce. And part of the way that we do that is by actually improving the way that you plan and delegate work for the field. So we have an application called Workforce for ArcGIS. And right now we're looking at the dispatcher view. So the purpose of Workforce is to help you use location to optimize the way that you complete your work. So as a dispatcher sitting in the office, I have this concept of projects. So in this case, I have my unplanned inspections, like anomaly inspections, and then I have my pipeline maintenance project, which represents planned inspections like those on my cathodic protection system. So let's actually dig into one of these projects and see what it contains. I'm going to launch my pipeline inspection project, and you're going to see two things load upon my screen. And keep in mind, this view is intended for the back office. So as a field crew manager or as a project manager, I have a map of my assets, my anomaly locations, and then I also have symbols on the map that represent all of the work that's being done, symbolized by its status. I can also see the locations of my workers and actually contact them at any given time, as well as see their workload at that particular moment. So as a dispatcher, I'm able to be in constant communication with what's happening in the field and have a spatial understanding of where my work is taking place. On the left-hand side, I have a list view of all of this work with a couple of key attributes displayed on the front. Now, if I come to my workers tab, I can get a sense of what's actually happening with my crews. Who's actively working, who's on a break, who's not working, and what is the distribution of work. So it looks like a lot of my workers are in need of work on this particular project. So let me show you just how quickly and easily we can create an assignment for somebody to go out in the field. I'm going to zoom on an anomaly that I would like one of my field workers to inspect. So I'm actually going to zoom to the location and then say I'd like to create a new assignment. The first thing I'm going to do is pick an assignment type. This list is actually populated when I create the project, so I've set what these values are. I'd like to use an anomaly inspection type, and then I'm actually just going to click on that particular anomaly to give it the location for that particular assignment. Now I could rename this to something more intelligible if I wanted to, or I could just leave it as coordinates. Now I have the ability to assign this to various workers. When I go to assign it, I'm again reminded of the distribution of work, the status of my workers, and their distance. In this case, for demo purposes, I'm actually going to assign it to myself, and I'm going to give it a critical priority with a due date by the end of the day today. I can give it an ID and a description. I can say, please inspect this anomaly. And then I could provide any attachments that I think would be beneficial to the field person, whether they be as-built drawings or additional instructions. I could incorporate those as part of the assignment. So I've successfully created the assignment, and you can now see I have a gray dot on my map that represents an assigned assignment. And it's critical in priority, so we have this big red block letting us know that. So as a dispatcher, we've actually delegated that work. So now it's time for somebody in the field to actually receive that assignment. So I'm going to switch over to my iPhone here and actually launch Workforce mobile component. Now what you'll notice is as I open the app, my list refreshes and I can see that I have a critical assignment that's been added. But before we dive into the assignment, I want to cover the basics of the application. I have a to-do list where I can visualize what I need to do in that particular day. And then I also have a map view, just like in the dispatcher. The difference is in this case, I can only see my assignments, but I can still view the location of my peers in the field. So I could contact any of my peers at any given time by clicking on them on the map, seeing their job title, and contacting them directly. Now we've talked a little bit about the worker status. So if you look at my picture in the bottom right hand side, this is where I actually let the dispatcher and my peers know whether I'm actively working or not. So I'm in constant communication with not only the dispatcher, but also my peers. So let's actually go ahead and take a look at that assignment. When I do, it should look very familiar. This is the information that we just filled out within the dispatcher view. Now you'll notice across the bottom, I have a big red acknowledge button. This is because this work is critical in nature. So when I hit acknowledge, this will notify the dispatcher that I've received the work. And at this point, I'm actually ready to complete the work using the other ArcGIS applications. But the key takeaway is that Workforce is utilizing location to help us optimize our work and build a smarter workforce.